I'm Ora Houston, and I'm voting no on Prop Q because I love Austin.
So, Miss Ora Houston, how long have you lived in Austin?
I've lived in Austin most of my life, except for going to college in other states and being married in other states.
Okay. And do you, what neighborhood do you live in Austin?
I live in the Blackland neighborhood.
Okay.
Which is, it's south of Manor Road and north of MLK, and then to the west is Chestnut Avenue, and then the University of Texas is my other neighbor.
Okay. And tell me about the Blackland neighborhood. What is that? I've never been there.
Well, Blackland neighborhood used to be where only black people could live, because here in Austin, Manor Road was the dividing line between where white people could live and own homes and black people could live and own homes. And so Blackland was because black people lived there. And there are not that many of us there now. In fact, I'm the only homeowner on my block. No, I'm sorry, in my whole neighborhood. From Chestnut to Chicon, I'm the only black homeowner.
Okay. And what happened to all the black homeowners?
New neighbors came in and moved them out because they were willing to pay exorbitant amounts of money for homes that were built there. There are 4 homes in my block that cost $1.4 million, and that was about 4 years ago when they built that. And they have their own homeowners association, so they're not part of the Blackland Neighborhood Association.
And so it sounds like your black neighbors were priced out.
Priced out either for rentals and or home ownerships.
Yeah. So I was planning on asking you, how are your neighbors doing? How are the historic, it's a historic black neighborhood. How are they doing? But it sounds like they're not there anymore.
Well, they're not there. There's some of us still there, and some of us continue to try to do the right thing for the neighborhood, but we're all getting older. Luckily, I have a daughter who, when I die, will inherit the house, and so she'll be there.
Yeah.
And I'm in the process of trying to get it zoned historic, and that's so difficult. It's so difficult because they've upped the prices so that you can't really do it like you did 10 years ago, which was a very nice thing to do. Some of our mayors just got off council and got their family homes zoned historic. But I've been working on this for 3 years now, and it costs some money.
You've lived in Austin for a long time. You've obviously spent a lot of time with minority communities, whether it be in the Blacklands neighborhood or, on you were former city councilwoman from 2014 to 18. I think it's Council District 1.
It is.
Which is predominantly, I think, minority. Is that correct?
No, not
predominantly.
anymore.
Maybe not. Okay, not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I mean, I can't help but wonder if Austin is affordable, and for your community, for your neighborhood, for East Austin, for the black community.
So, when you ask me to say I love Austin,
yeah.
I really don't anymore because of the lack of affordability that was when my parents moved here. I lived at 815 East 11th Street, and that was the Negro district at that time. So everybody I knew was black, and they were all supportive, and we had businesses, and Samuel Houston College was across the street, and Tillotson College was down the street. And so it was so different. So I'm in a neighborhood now where people don't even speak when they walk by you in the neighborhood, and they let their dogs poop in your yard. And so, that's not cool. That's not cool. And when you say something to them, they want to argue with you.
Yeah.
And so Austin has changed dramatically in the time that I've been a part of this community. And it started changing, I guess, maybe right after I got off the city council. I started seeing some changes that people who had been respectful of minority communities in the past were not as respectful, and they saw East Austin as a place to grab hold of and do whatever they needed to in the city. So I'm not happy with the city of Austin.
Yeah. How do you and your friends and neighbors in the minority community feel about property taxes in Austin?
They're already too high. Everybody says that, whether people I have that are friends of mine rent or own, everybody knows that property taxes are too high because even if you rent, your payment to your landlord is going to go up because they've got to pay their property taxes on their property and where you're living. So everything is going up, and it's going up very fast. And so everybody's very concerned about why this is happening, and there's been no community engagement about what's going on and how the money's going to be used. And so people are uneasy in the communities that I talk to.
Yeah, I don't want to focus too much on the numbers. Right.
I'm not a numbers person.
That's okay. I don't want you to be. So Prop Q is going to raise property taxes approximately 20%, give or take. And you're talking about minority communities already noticing that their property taxes are rising. They're too high and they're rising too quickly. So what does a 20% increase on property tax do to someone that feels that way already?
I think that's going to make them have to move out, which has happened, and many people now live in Manor or Hutto or Round Rock or down south in San Marcos because they can't afford to live in Austin anymore. And this is where they've grown up. This is where their congregations are. This is where their friends are. But people are being forced out, and that's what I'm getting, is that people feel that this is, if not purposeful, it certainly feels like it's being on purpose to force people to move out of certain areas so that then developers can come and take over that property and build something new and different for new neighbors.
So would you say that that's good for Austin, that minority communities are being forced out due to high costs?
I think it's horrible. I think it's horrible, and I think it's a sin because they're not thinking about people. And when I say minority communities, I'm talking about brown and black, but I'm also talking about the poor white neighbors that are in that area. Anybody that doesn't have a stable, you can have a stable employment, but still be unable to pay your taxes. Food is going up, gasoline has gone up. This is a time that is so controversial now with all the things that are going, that when the city of Austin decides to increase their taxes by 18 to 20%, I don't know what the number is, then everybody, what am I going to do? That's the question I'm asked, is what am I going to do if they do this, if this passes? How am I going to live? How will I stay here? So when I'm out and about talking to people, they're afraid.
So when the city of Austin talks about an affordability crisis, which they've been talking about for, I don't know, a decade?
Years.
Years and years. And they always raise the property tax to the maximum. Okay, they raise it to the maximum, but now they're wanting you to approve far beyond the maximum. They're going to the voters and saying, we need even more. How do you think that, does that make sense to you? There's an affordability crisis, but we also want to make it more unaffordable for you.
I don't think that, because it's not explained well to the general public. I think some people understand what's going on, but the general public is thinking that the city has their best interest at heart. And if the city needs to raise property taxes, and maybe they have a need to do it, they're not a whole lot of people like me that go and say, well, what are we going to use that for? And have you tried to downsize some of the things like we do in our houses? What do I don't need as much of this month as I did last month, so that I can have some extra money to do whatever? The city has done this in a strange way to me, is that there, as far as I can tell, there have not been that many community meetings and engagements in the community to say, this is what we're planning on doing, and what do you think about that? Because I'm sure if people understood an 18 to 20% property tax, and it's not just for 3 years, it's from now on.
Yeah.
That's the other thing people don't understand, is that if this is Proposition Q is passed, they will be taking property taxes from you at that amount from now on.
Yeah.
And so I think they do that on purpose, and it's not clear to people that this is a long-term investment for them, taking money from the poor and giving it to the wealthy.
So when you say that people assume the city of Austin has their best interest at heart, do you think the city of Austin has their best interest at heart?
Of course not.
Whose interest do they have at heart?
The people that pay the bills for them, and the development community is number one. The lawyers, those people that I can't name names that we all know and love dearly that make these deals for land acquisitions, and those are the people that are getting the benefit of this tax, this raise in the Proposition Q, and the people who are suffering are the ones that are just barely making it.
Yeah.
Just barely making it, just hanging on by their fingernails, trying to say, how do we stay in this house that we bought back in 1952? How do we do that?
Yeah, and the property taxes going up, that affects their ability to do that. You were city councilwoman for District 1, as we said, from 2014 to 2018. That's a unique experience that not a lot of Austinites have. And I think when you say the city of Austin doesn't have our best interest at heart, it's pretty meaningful coming from you. In that time on city council, did you ever see the city of Austin attempt to make things more affordable for Austinites?
I did not in the 4 years I was able to serve the public.
And you pay attention pretty closely as a former city councilwoman. Have you seen?
Now hold on just a minute.
Okay.
I don't pay that much attention because my blood pressure goes up. My blood pressure goes up because I remember the 4 years that I had the privilege of serving the citizens, and I look at how people are treated now, and there's no communication with them. There's no way to give input. You've got to go down to City Hall. Instead of having 3 minutes to say what needs to be said, you had 1 minute. Seniors can't get down there. They do have things like this where we can have a conversation, or you can call in. But the older citizens and those that are getting older, they're the ones that are suffering because they don't have those options anymore. And nobody brings the information into the community to explain to them why we need Proposition Q, and do you think this is a good idea? Nobody's had that conversation with the people that in my community.
Do you think that they would tell when they say, if they came to the community and said, this is why we need Proposition Q, would you trust them on what they said?
Knowing them as I do, no, I wouldn't trust them, but at least there would be an opportunity for people to then have those question and answers that they don't have an opportunity to have now. But they expect people to come to them rather than them coming to the people and say, this is what we're considering. We want to do this, 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 and in order to do that, we're going to have to raise some taxes and then talk about realistically what that's going to do for the average Joe.
So since you didn't see anything while you were a councilwoman, you didn't see the city of Austin attempt to make things more affordable. Since then, since 2018, have you seen the city of Austin try to make things more affordable?
Not to my knowledge. And I've been watching them, and I haven't seen them try to do anything to make Austin more affordable. I've seen them do some extraordinary things, tried to make it more difficult for just everyday Joan and Jane to live here. Mm-hmm. And I think some people feel that, and so then they're moving out, which is unfortunate.
On the side that is supporting Proposition Q, it's called Love Austin, and they seem to be claiming that Trump and Abbott are to blame for for the deficit or for any sort of financial straits the city of Austin might be in. You're a former city councilwoman. You have intimate knowledge of the city of Austin. Do you think that Trump and Abbott have anything, or Republicans, or the state, or who's to blame here? Who is to blame?
The city of Austin. And I didn't even have to think about that. Trump has nothing to do with this. Abbott, some because of recapture through the Austin Independent School District, that whole recapture thing that they take our tax dollars from AISD and then give the majority to somebody else. But those people didn't have anything to do. The city of Austin is doing this. The city of Austin has decided they need to have certain things in certain places for certain people, and they're going to do it come hell or high water. And I think the majority of the people who have been here understand that. I think the problem is that we have so many new Austinites that don't understand the politics in this city. And so they're the ones that are getting confused about this Proposition Q.
Yeah.
and that it's a good thing to do, and that it's something that they should support. And I'm so far opposite that I don't know what to say. It's just like I won't be able to live here if this thing passes.
Yeah. How does it make you feel?
I can't say bad words. But you can imagine if I've been here this long in my life, went to school here, all segregated schools in Austin, and I finally got to a place where I could own a home, my parents' home, but I now own it, and then put it in a trust for my children. Most parents, folks who look like me, don't have those options anymore because they have to pay their property taxes. And if it goes up substantially, which it will under Q, then how do they survive? How do they eat? How do they pay their gas bill? How do they get gasoline? What do they do? And nobody seems to care about those middle income people and the poor people. We got the people who are at the edge of starvation. You've got people who are just above that edge, who are just barely making it. And then we've got a small percentage of others who are running this city and making it so difficult for us to live here.
If someone were to consider voting for Prop Q, what would you want them to hear from you? Speaking for yourself, but also having such deep connections to the community, what would you want them to hear from you?
I would want them to hear that they weren't included in the conversation.
Who wasn't included?
The people that I'm talking to.
Yeah.
You all were not included in the conversation when this came up to decide whether or not this was the way to go. There were people included, but we weren't included in that. That this is going to have a very negative impact on your ability to maintain your property and maintain your living in Austin. And that I don't think people understand that if Proposition Q passes, this is going to be from now on. It's not going to be like we're going to tax you for 3 years and then we're going to revert back. This is something that is going on forever.
Yeah.
And what will we get out of it? What reward will you see if Proposition Q passes? How will that impact you in a positive way, and your family in a positive way? And if you have kids in college or high school, how will that impact you all, your daily lives? And I don't think people are thinking about that. And I don't think we're getting to the people to help them understand that this is serious. This is deadly serious, and it's going to impact people who don't even know that it's going on. Some of the seniors in my neighborhood, they don't have a clue what Proposition Q is.
How will seniors be affected?
Worse than probably people who are working, because they're really on a fixed income.
Yeah.
They're on an absolutely fixed income, and there's no way for them to get more money. So then they either sell their property and go live with a daughter or a son who lives in Iowa. They're used to living in Austin, Texas. And so they want to live and die here. They don't want to be living someplace else because they can't afford to pay their taxes.
Yeah. Well, Ms. Orr Houston, I really appreciate you taking the time. Is there anything else you wanted to mention before we sign off?
I'm almost in tears having this conversation because of the numbers of people who are out in Austin who don't know that Proposition Q will be on the ballot, don't know how to vote or what to vote for. And so I would just like to say to everybody that's listening, remember to vote against Prop Q.